His is probably the most recognizable voice at West Warwick High School. He went from student to graduate to teacher to dean of discipline and now to assistant principal. Steve Alves has worn many hats in this school, including athlete and coach. The title he seems to care most about, though, is one that really isn't an official title. It's the title of mentor. And if you know the man, you know that he is not often at a loss for words.
Shortcuts always have long-term repercussions. The definition of a fool is someone who has the same plan expecting a different outcome. Winners make adjustments. Losers make excuses.
Not too long ago, we put out a request for questions to ask Mr. Alves, and boy, did we ever get responses. So, right here on this show, he will answer those questions and more. And as always,
I'm thanking you in advance for your anticipated cooperation.
This is the Words with Wizards podcast, your look at the world through the lens of West Warwick High School. It's where we talk to interesting people, visit cool places, and sometimes hit on a big story. And at the end of it all, you'll learn a little more about what's going on in the land of the orange and black. And now, here's your host, Mr. Eric White.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. Today is Friday, March 17th, 2023. Happy St. Patty's Day. First of all, I want to wish my daughter, Eva, a happy 24th birthday. Thanks for once again making me feel old. Well, I asked what you wanted to know about Mr. Alves, and you answered. And on this show, he's going to answer those questions that you sent in. Here's what he had to say.
Dressed well, test well.
The questions that people sent in for you.
Okay.
Mr. Steve Alves, assistant principal at West Warwick High School. Okay, so we'll start off with the people who want to get rid of you.
Okay.
Do you think that you will be going to a new school district anytime soon?
Maybe. I guess I'm finishing up my second master's degree in the last 3 years to open up some opportunities. I'm eligible for retirement in January of 24. And I'm looking to possibly do one of two things. I would like to go work in one of the colleges in the athletic department, perhaps as a academic liaison type thing, or, perhaps do this gig as assistant principal, over the state line where you get your full salary plus your pension. So I would almost double my salary for the same headaches that I get here. Or I stay here and ride it out. I don't know. So come January 10th of 24, I will have some options. I don't know exactly what I'll do, but I will be working in some capacity with kids for the next decade before my wife actually lets me retire.
Now, so speaking of that, of you're going to turn 60 next year.
59.
Right? 59. Oh, 59. I'm sorry.
I'll be
I'm
in my
Russian.
60th year.
You'll be in your 60th year. This is why they don't let me teach math anymore. So you're going to be you're 58 now. You're going to turn 59, and you look fantastic for 50. I mean,
Jesus.
even you look
Thank you.
heck of a lot younger. I know some days some
Don't
days
feel
working you don't feel it, but
No.
what is your favorite thing about this job?
Really, it's just turning kids around. I mean, you have conversations, whether it be discipline or academic or social emotional support. You have these conversations with students, and initially they're apprehensive. It's almost like you're speaking at them instead of with them. But then after a couple conversations, you see the light go on, you see the relational trust, and they start to come to you with situations. So seeing that transition from that, that child who distrusts you initially because, I'm like Darth Vader in this place. And then they realize that, no, I'm really there for them and not against them. So I love seeing that light go on and that transition in mindset with the students.
Sometimes it sometimes it takes a little time for that.
Oh,
to
sure
happen,
it does.
correct?
I mean, like I said, when I worked at Dean of Students, I called that job a 4-year dialogue with the kids, and then by the end, they appreciate you and then respect the job you did because, they look at it as a coming at them instead of pushing them forward. So
let's talk about coaching. And I know in one sitting, I mean, you've done so many things. Coaching. Have you reffed wrestling? Have you coached wrestling as well?
I did. I was an assistant coach right out of college.
Okay.
I took over actually from my father, who was the assistant coach, and he had it. He was head football coach. He was tired in the winter, so a couple of years under Dick Stone, I was an assistant coach, and then when I started refereeing, I stepped away from the coaching.
Now let's talk about football coaching because you've had a lot of success there. I think a lot of people see you walking around here and don't remember that you have led teams, including this one here at West Warwick, to state championships as a head coach and also as an assistant coach under your father. Let's talk about how you got into coaching. I remember we had talked about it before, but you initially graduated from here and went and did something else. You didn't go into education. Why don't you talk about that and then how you got into coaching?
Sure. Okay. I actually, when I graduated with a pre-law degree, I got a job with the Department of Attorney General as a paralegal in the Narcotics and Organized Crime Division and also an investigator in the Consumer Protection Division. And the job didn't start till January of '88. I graduated in June of '87. So
from what college?
From Union College in upstate New York. We had a great run there. We played for the national championship in the Amos Alonzo Stag Bowl Division III. We made it to the Final Four and then the Elite Eight the other 2 years. So we had a great run.
In football, you're talking
football,
about.
Yep.
Great.
Really, and actually one of the kids I played with got drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. It was Icky Wood's roommate. And then,
the Icky Shuffle.
Yes.
Yeah.
We knew it well. He was his roommate traveling. But I decided to, we'll say, blow life off, as you would say, and stay up at college. And I coached as a graduate assistant, and I also worked in admissions, interviewing incoming freshmen the fall after I had graduated. And then when that ended, I came back here and started my job in what I thought to be a pre-law, experience. So I was going to go to law school. The LSATs kind of beat me up a little bit. I went 4 for 4 in college, law school rejections. And I started coaching at Shea High School. Actually, I was an assistant at West Warwick for 1 year in '88. And in '89, I said, let me try. I like this coaching thing. Pretty good. So I applied to a couple places. I got rejected from first couple, being only a 24-year-old kid. South Kingston, St. Ray's, Hendricken. Said no, thank you. But Shea had fallen on hard times. They were everybody's homecoming game. So I said, let's give this 24-year-old kid a shot. And I went over there and had to set the tone. And
Did you go over as head coach?
Yes, head coach, and brought actually a bunch of wizards with me. My brother, Robbie Grenier, head coach there with me, and Dougie Haynes.
Great.
Another kid named Jay Manning. We went over there, and we changed the culture. And we won 4 consecutive Super Bowls, 91, 2, 3, and 4. Wow. First year, we only had 17 kids because I cleaned house. You want to be in or you want to be out? Both feet in, or let me help you get them out. And we were Rhode Island's Words Unlimited Team of the Year. And until Hendricken went on this run, we had the state record for the most consecutive Super Bowls. We probably still do for a public school.
Wow.
For
4 wins.
4 consecutive Super Bowl victories in a row.
Wow.
And that's it. So I started there, fell in love with coaching those kids. And, some of them, most of the kids came from one of the 2 projects in Pawtucket. So Prospect Heights or Gallagher Court, I was in there with the kids, and I became almost like a big brother to the kids. And I loved the effect that I had, again, turning them around. And I said, if I went back and became a teacher, I could get out ahead of some of these problems and try to steer them away from problems instead of being part of the prosecutory team that puts them away. So I went back on my history degree at age 33. and came back here and student taught, and I've been here ever since.
Yep.
January of '98.
Now there's our paths didn't converge, but I started teaching at Tides in Pawtucket.
Okay.
A lot of the kids from that same area.
Oh,
These are
yeah.
the kids that the public school system said, we can't handle you. We're going to send
No.
you to Tides.
Yep.
And it was the best thing I ever did.
No, I loved it.
Started teaching, and there's really something about making a difference in the lives of those kids, especially those that don't have the support at home.
Exactly. We
that
had
they need.
in November of 21, they had a 30-year reunion at one of the Legion halls in Pawtucket. Now, all these guys are 48-year-old guys now, you know what I mean? And then it was emotionally filled hours. I had my son come so he could experience it.
Great.
And, a lot of kids just, pouring their hearts out on how, you were a major, asset in the turning around of what they did. And they still, honestly, they still call me. Kids call me all the time. Coach,
That's great.
Hey, what do you think about this? So here, anywhere I've coached, whether it be West Warwick, Exeter, West Greenwich, even Cranston West, they'll reach out.
You have any with your guys? So you guys are about my age, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a couple years younger. And did they have a lot of them go on to productive careers? Doing that?
Yes. We had a couple of them went into coaching. We got one of this kid, Mark Roderick's coaching at Moses Brown. Theo Murray's coaching at Tolman. This kid, Dino Georgopoulos, is coaching up in Massachusetts. We had others like this one player, Helmut McIntosh. He was a little guy but fast as lightning. He went to Delaware State, and he was on a track and football scholarship, and now he's a banker in Philadelphia, but he was right from Prospect Heights,
Wow.
Bunch of they're all doing well. This Charlie Carvalho is a rapper named Chachi. He's a Cape Verdean rapper, well known. He's been on TV and everything.
Yeah.
And he's also works for the city of Pawtucket, kind of as a social emotional support guy in the academic arena. So he's, whenever I say, Chachi, and I show him, I call him, he's like, hey, coach, and there's going to be a transfer from Pawtucket, and put Chachi on the phone. We make that connection. So the kids,
great.
start to build that relational trust when they move from Pawtucket here.
That's great.
So some of the examples.
That's great. So, and as far as your coaching, you mentioned your son Cameron, and you have your daughter Madison. You ended up coaching them at Cranston West, where I graduated from. Talk about that a little bit. How'd you get into that?
Well, what happened was I left high school coaching after my daughter was born, where I was a paid coach. I was head coach here till 05. My son started playing flag football all the way up, and I started coaching he and his buddies literally from kindergarten through grade 12. And we started with the max, and we had 36 kids, and by his senior year, we had 22 seniors graduate. They went back-to-back Super Bowls. I loved that. And then my daughter, there was one point in the month of July, I was coaching 4 different CLCF teams, whether it was my daughter's basketball team. My son's football practices would start, the summer basketball here, or all-star baseball. So in the summers, I was Mr. CLCF, and I just kind of followed them through the high school, kind of as a I called myself with the football program there the interior decorator. I would come in and make suggestions kind of as a consultant. Didn't do the heavy lifting as a paid coach would. So.
And your daughter played for the CLCF team, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When she was, in 5th grade, I believe?
6th grade. Yeah, she did a PowerPoint to my wife and I on how she should play. And we were like, no. And then she was so impressive. We said, you know what? Go ahead. She had been doing gymnastics. She had been, she did everything, really. And it actually saved us for $400 a month because she quit gymnastics. And started, football was $185 for the season. So I said, well, let's give it a shot. And she was phenomenal, really, tackling, running. It was fun.
That's
fun to
great.
watch her
And
play.
that's a great age, I think, where the girls, and especially your daughter, who's really athletic, to say the least. We'll talk about her a little more. where the boys don't start getting too much bigger and stronger yet, right at that age. That's a perfect time.
Yeah.
So then she is playing for Cranston West, and she's also playing soccer at the same time,
Yes.
where she was an all-state selection in
Yes.
soccer, and has won many awards, and she was kicking for the team. So then we did on West Warwick High School TV the story.
Yes,
about
the story. That was a great story.
yeah, thank you. You coaching your son and daughter, and son and daughter playing together.
Yeah.
Cam as the quarterback, your daughter as the kicker, and it's like, and you told me, I think you were taking her from that practice to the other practice, right? To soccer
she
practice.
She would twice a week. Right out of school, we would do warm-ups, agilities, then right into field goal, extra point, kickoff, kick return, and then she would go to soccer practice. The first 2 years I had to drive her from there up to Hope Highlands and then come back, whereas, the next 2 years, actually we had the turf, so it worked out. They practiced right on the turf. So,
Great.
So it was good.
Great. We have a story coming up with the magic word. Our buddy Keaton Noons on the wrestling team did a story about artificial turf. I think he talked to you
Yes.
for it. You're quoted in it. And got a picture of our field and a picture of Cranston East Field, where Richard Grenier coaches
Yes.
on there.
Yep.
And we've all played on that.
Sure.
And, what's better, turf or, the question, what's better, turf or natural grass? And I think you were a natural grass guy.
Well, for the safety, yes, but for the durability of the field and everything, and if we got the turf field here and a turf field maybe even down behind the high school, the revenue you could generate, they play adult soccer 24/7, especially with the lights. So turf would pay for itself and start to become a revenue generator after a few years. That's what happened at Cranston Stadium.
Yeah.
That turf paid for itself
Absolutely.
quickly. So.
Absolutely. And,
But again, it would be, I think, almost less maintenance. I mean, you
Yeah.
paint the lines, you save on water, the machinery, gas,
Yeah.
manpower,
Yeah.
hours.
You do. And it's definitely different. Speaking, with soccer, coaching soccer, when you play on a grass field, the ball goes slower.
Yeah.
And on turf, it's like it's like it's going over a rug.
Yeah.
Depending, I mean, there are some turf fields, like the new one at Cranston West
Yep.
is really good and lifelike, but it's different. All right, some questions about stuff going on in the school. One student, I think this is a student. Why can't we wear hoods in cold conditions? Why can't we wear hoodies in the hallways? What's your problem with hoodies?
It's all dress code violations. For me, I'm duty bound whether I agree or not to enforce technology, punctuality, and dress code issues. The hood, obviously, identification. I mean, if you put on YouTube or anything else, anything that's going on, people pop the hood up. Whether it's girls doing it for fights so their hair doesn't get pulled, or somebody doing something they shouldn't. So that's kind of historically where it comes from. For here, it's a rule. So I mean, for me, if it's a rule, then you respect it.
Yeah.
What we do here, school's supposed to be a microcosm of the real world. And wherever you work, you're going to have some type of dress code, perhaps. And it's good practice to, show up as you're expected to. We deal with the popping the hood on, popping it off. But, for safety, everything's built around really safety.
Yeah.
And I think it's easily understood what the danger of everybody wearing hoods in the building would be.
So, and that's understandable. And I think one other thing, when you put your hood on, you really can't see out of with most hoods, you can't see what's going on around you. So that's a danger to you if something dangerous is going
same with the
on.
earbuds and even the phone. These kids, this generation, is the most disconnected generation to their surroundings, whether it be technologically speaking. They'll like anything, tweet anything, send it out, and share everything with the universe.
Yep.
They don't know who's watching, who's calling, who's typing.
Yep.
And then, the earbuds are plugged in, their face is down on their phone, and they're disconnected from anything around their surroundings physically.
Yeah.
So, I think, again, with the earbuds and the phone, there's that lack of connection to the outside world. And again, a safety issue. Be aware of your surroundings. And this generation, both physically and technologically, is not.
Yeah. No, I'd have to agree with that. I find myself doing it when I'm like, why am I on my phone so much? So I'm watching Steve Alves highlights from when you were wrestling in high school. That's what I'm doing on my phone. Okay.
There's only one video. That's it. The VCR was just invented then. That's crazy. Go on. That's the only one.
We'll see if we can get that up on the podcast
Yeah,
webpage.
that'd be hilarious.
In the New England Championship.
Some guy videotaped it and put it up, and a friend of mine found it, and I said, "That's it. The only time I ever saw myself wrestle. I didn't.
Wow.
We were too poor. We couldn't videotape anything. We didn't.
No, you had to have, when it first came out. When
It
stuff
was-
like that
yeah.
first came out, you had to have a lot of money.
Hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do my best impression of a student because I'm going to ask you a question about the dress code as the student. Okay. At work, we're going to have to follow dress codes, but hey, Alves, we're not getting paid here. So when we get paid, then we'll start following the dress code. So why not let it go here?
Well, I would start with the old hashtag dressed well, test well. There is a dress code because, again, I use an acronym SAFE, SAFE. Schools are for education. The focal point of everything you do, type, read, wear, should be to provide a safe and productive learning environment for yourself and everybody else. So what you wear, if it's distracting to the learning environment, disruptive to the learning environment, then it's something that needs to be addressed for the good of the community. And that's my job. We lay it right out. You're not supposed to have anything on your head unless it's medically or religiously cleared.
Yeah.
You're not, your torso is supposed to be covered. There's supposed to be nothing disparaging on your shirt, whether it be promoting sex, drugs, alcohol, weapons.
Yeah.
And then anything below your waist has to be mid-thigh length as defined by the full extension of your hands measured at your thumb.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the dress code. I mean, it's and if not, then you're disrupting the learning environment and we need to have a conversation.
Yeah. So let's talk about being on time.
Okay.
One student says, why don't students get a grace period before being considered late for school, like how my job does, this student says.
Okay. Because our job, the last line in the mission statement, is to make you a productive, ethical, responsible member of the community. All right. Being late is not acceptable, and it's a bad practice if you're thinking you want to have longevity in a job. Grace period would be an occasional hiccup here or there. What we do here is we have social suspension. It's a 10% rule. If you're absent, tardy, or dismissed, unexcused, once you cross that 10% threshold, so it's 5 1/4, which is 45 days, or 18 for the year, which is 180 days. That's where those numbers come from. It's 10% of a quarter or 10%. So if you think about it, if you're absent or you leave early or you're late to work, one day every pay period, it's going to catch up to you. That's what's called a CLM, a career limiting move. So our job here is, again, to create, students who are going to be productive, ethical, responsible members of the community. I find it ironic that, I'll just use the athletes as an example. So I'm only 3 minutes late. So if I benched you just for 3 minutes, 3 minutes is an eternity now, right?
Absolutely.
But you're late for 3 minutes. It's I'm overreacting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always say to them, you make a half-court shot 3 minutes after the buzzer went off. Does it count? No. So I don't want to hear you're 3 minutes late, 3 seconds late.
Yeah.
You're late.
Yeah.
And if you're on time, you're late. You should be early.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Vince Lombardi used to penalize and fine his players. He had this, even in business now, my wife, when she goes, they call it the Lombardi rule. If you're 10 minutes early, you're 5 minutes late. He fined you if you weren't 15 minutes early.
Wow. And what does your wife do?
So pharmaceutical sales reps, and when they have those big meetings, they say, we're on Lombardi time.
Gotcha.
That's in the
So
business
you better
world.
be 15 minutes or
15
more.
minutes early. That's it.
Wow. Okay, well, so let's go back to when you were in school. I already know the answer to this.
Oh.
Did you ever get into a fight in school like that was off the wrestling mat?
Never. No, never.
Okay.
With my brother daily.
Yes.
At the house.
I heard about those.
The
yeah.
bus stop. The bus would be waiting, but never with anybody else.
What do you like when you're at home with your family? And I think we're going to get to know, is it Mr. Chill?
Yes. Or as this generation would say, I'm mad chill at home. My wife calls me no pulse. I go home, I disconnect, we'll just say, I get all my chores done, work out, whatever everybody's, and then after dinner I do all the dishes. I do laundry. It's a good way where you can just chill. I can say, I'm doing laundry. So
because you're always waiting. You're waiting for stuff to come out.
I grab the remote, I get in my chair.
Yeah.
And sometimes I put my daddy ears on. I don't hear anything. I'm just kind of relaxed, and that's it. Non-confrontational, I'll just say non-emotional, just decompressing, I guess.
Wow. And now both the kids are in college.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just you. It's you and the wife.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Is that any different? A little quieter.
A little quieter, less. We were always kind of eating wherever they were playing. We were eating, or we were hurry up eating and getting on the road again. So that has slowed down.
Yeah.
But my wife teaches Pilates also a couple nights a week, so she does that in the evening. I have some events here and there, so we still kind of fill our time that way. But it's definitely slowed down.
Gotcha. That's there's a you mentioned your recliner. I need to get a recliner. Why aren't this isn't back to a question? We're almost done here, and thank you very much for coming up again. Why aren't we allowed to use phones in school? Isn't high school meant to be proper use, like a dress rehearsal for life in college? And it's a resource that's available to us. Why can't we use it?
Well, because Rhode Island general laws back in the days of the pager.
Oh yeah.
Came out and said that any student enrolled in a public school shall be prohibited from utilizing, possessing, or carrying a paging device while on school property, unless permission given by the authorities. Yep. So what we did is we came up with the BYOD policy, the bring your own device policy, so that overrid the state law. Yeah. You can bring the phone, supposed to be for emergency purposes or educational purposes. So if the adult in the room says you may use it for an emergency or educational purpose, then you can take it out. Yeah. As you know, with teenagers, that 1 inch becomes 1 mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're doing everything. Basically, every problem that we have to solve here, 80% of it boils back to something done on a phone. Mm. Whether it be airdropping something that you shouldn't, to videotaping something, to cheating. They got these apps now that do all the math problems and whatever else.
The AI stuff that's out there now.
This thing's the worst thing for education.
Yeah.
Teenagers do not have, I should say adults, even humans, do not have the capacity to stay focused when they have this thing around them. This thing is temptation and distraction on steroids.
I would agree. Let me ask you a question. Going back to the dress code for one moment.
Okay.
This popped in my head. I tilted my head. It went out, and now it's back. Why not ban hoodies, period? Wouldn't that take a lot of
I would.
Yeah.
I would love to. I just don't know that, the pushback we would get about kids got to walk home and this, that, and the other. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. There's a lot of things, I don't know. I mean, I would, as crazy as it sounds, I mean, not that we push for it, but like a school uniform, like as a parent, right? So say you have a black shirt and khakis or something like that, a little golf shirt, you buy 5 of them.
Yeah.
And a pair of khaki or jeans, some jeans, but that's it. Now, there's no wondering what you're going to wear each day. There's no. I'm not talking about the uniforms like the private, but something as a parent. Wouldn't that be like that August shopping? It would be so much easier.
It's been an essay topic in summer school that I've taught and English class, and Yeah, I mean, and I understand there would be a lot of pushback.
Oh, of course.
There
But
would be.
if you go back to my initial thing that SAFE, schools are for education, that E is there, not an F for
Yeah.
fashion.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody wants
Yeah.
the F fashion, like this is my, individual liberty and expression, but the same kid then will put the uniform on and work at Dunkin' Donuts. So I
Yeah.
find that kind of laughable.
Yeah, I hear you. What are your thoughts on hazing? Are you coached?
Oh, yeah.
You still coach?
Yep.
What are your thoughts on hazing?
Well, two things. First, as a coach or as any authority figure, supervision for teenagers is paramount. You know, there's a saying that the idle mind is a devil's workshop. So teenagers unsupervised, all right, is grounds for, we'll say, mischief. Okay, and that's the first thing. So, I was always, I'm a big believer in supervision. As you see, I try to supervise or returning back from lunch, I follow the group up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be as ever present as possible because that minimizes things. The second thing is it's just cowardice. You have people, whether it's bullying, hazing, or whatever, people who are insecure will then go on offense so they don't have to be on defense.
Yeah.
And so they're going to insult, pick, whether it be, I call them keyboard cowboys, the big tough typers, or kids who are tough in a crowd, but, one-on-one so they're in a crowd, they're going to put a show on for people. It's sad, it is sad. And the worst part, again, coming back to the phone, is the culture has slid so far down that people videotape this stuff.
Yeah.
And they post it. Somebody's worst moment, perhaps. It's disgusting. I sit and when there's a fight in the hallway, the fight doesn't bother me as much as the people who videotape it instead of breaking it up. For me, that's a pathetic existence of culture.
And unfortunately, and it's not just the kids; it's
No,
our
it's
society.
everywhere.
But
Something's
I totally
going
agree
down
with you.
instead of helping. First thing people do is take their phone out and videotape it. It's sad reality.
Yeah, I can barely get my phone out to take pictures of things I should be
I know.
taking pictures
No,
of.
I know. No.
Like, okay, this is a good photo.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of, I mean, not that this has to do with Showtime, but where did you get the phrase "it's Showtime"? I mean, surely you didn't mean for people to take out their phones and videotape violence.
No. Just there's intermission. That's in the lunchroom. You're sitting there eating, and then showtime means let's go. You know what? We're all on stage. Let's rock.
Yep.
Let's get to where we got to be, and let's be productive members of this community.
So would you say it's passing time or passing going right into class? Like
Well,
everything,
well,
intermission is, if intermission is lunch, then everything else is showtime.
Well,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
And it's a way of me telling them that basically school's for education. Put all your other garbage away. Get the hat off, the hood off, the earbuds out, put your phone away. It's showtime.
Yep.
There's no distractions.
Now, this is a loaded question, speaking of that, because you and I graduated a long time ago from high school. What are some big changes that you have seen in this school over the years? Now, you were here as a student, and then you were here as a teacher,
Oh,
and
God,
you've
I've
been
been
here for a
here.
while.
This year's my 53rd year in West Warwick Public Schools, whether it be, I started in kindergarten at Harris Avenue School in 1970. Went to Horgan for 6 years, John F. Deering for 3, West Warwick for 3. I've been coaching and teaching and athletic director and dean and assistant principal. Couple things. Obviously, we've moved from a suburban district where you had as my cousins would call it, the born, bred, dead wizards.
Yeah.
You had the same families, go to the same church, work in the same mills, kind of come up through, and you knew the families. And we still have some of that.
Yeah.
We've now become an urban ring district where you have people moving here who don't have that wizard connection.
Yep.
And I find that we have to do a lot more, let's say, support and kind of culture building now. It's not like a given where my father went to school with your father, and they knew, so now, there's more of the community building that we have to do as a school department. The kids, it's almost sad. I hate to say it. My son always says, "I wish I was, in your era." The old days of my mother and father would lock us out of the house, get lost, go do something, and you hung out with your buddies, you solved your own problems, right? You didn't have to be supervised, and everything had to be organized, and everybody got a trophy, a ribbon. I mean, with all the playground stuff that we used to do was bigger than the league stuff, And now we have everything so organized now, and everything's so publicized and scripted that we have kids that play so many games and so many things that they don't even know who they're playing the next day.
Yeah.
Whereas we played games and sports, we'll just say, and you knew who you were playing the next week because there were few and far between events.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the kids today are either doing nothing or overscheduled.
Yeah.
Whereas we were able to,
live your lives outside.
They called it child rearing instead of parenting then. Child rearing meant we were forced to rear up on our own 2 feet and solve our own problems.
Yeah.
And today it's parents sometimes that, are out in front of their kids, taking away those opportunities to learn, to work through adversity. Whereas we were out at Cleveland Street Field, and that's where it went down. That's it. We solved the problem ourselves.
Yeah. Yep. Let me talk about something, because I know something you said when you were dean of students has stuck with me, and I think you do a lot of the same thing now. You're giving the kids the tools to solve their own problems.
Exactly.
It sounds like that's what you're doing. That's what all of you are doing. You, Mr. Green, Ms. Hassel.
Of course.
Giving them their own tools, because you're not always going to be there. You don't always want to be there, and their parents are not always going to be there to do that. Would you say that's accurate?
Oh, God, yeah. Well, what we do here, the Castle social emotional learning targets, a lot of self-regulation, stuff like that. What I do is I try to use anything as a teachable moment. What discipline isn't punishment. Discipline is making a disciple or a follower of what is right. And restorative practices talks about children, obviously there's some punishment involved, but there's also that teachable moment so that they can then self-regulate the next time.
Yeah.
So what I do a lot of times with my Alvesisms, my little aphorisms, the quotes, are a way to connect to their existing schema or what they know, and I try to make an example so that the lesson I'm speaking with them and not at them. So a lot of it is, teaching them to solve problems, not win arguments. And a lot of teenagers, they want to win arguments, bring everybody else in, and they think strengths in numbers. Instead of cutting your losses, this is what I did wrong, here's what I can control, is my attitude and my effort.
Yeah.
Let me fix that instead of trying to win the argument of who's a bigger jerk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a contest that you would think nobody would want to win, but okay. So this is one. Maybe we should ask Mrs. Alves, but I'm going to let you answer it.
Okay.
She's going to hear. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh, that's easy. That's Aruba.
Oh yeah.
It's 82 degrees, slight breeze. Can drink the water. Phenomenal restaurants. That's it.
Yeah.
I've been about 10 times, and I don't know why I live here.
Every winter I ask myself the same thing.
Although today's kind of almost Arubian weather.
We gotta. Tomorrow I'm going to be on the morning show with one of our teachers. We may have to issue an apology about the weather rating because it was given a 6, and it was definitely a 10. But I don't know. Riley Maynard, our producer back there, he does a great job. And people ask. I think if that's one of the, I don't want to say controversial things, but people often pull us aside and ask us, how do you decide what gets a 1, what gets a 10?
1910 broke a record. All right, so this is
unbelievable.
The best February 16th ever. How can it not be a 10?
I know. If it's over 50, it's probably a 10 in February. So
I would think.
All right. Now, when I see this, I think, do you have an alter ego? but I think this might be about you compared to other members of your family. Which Alves do you think people like best? So I don't know if you have an alter ego or are they thinking your brother?
You know what? Here's how I'll answer that. Whatever Alves is agreeing with them at that point in time, that's who they're going to like better. All right. You know, I think what's beautiful about the relationship I've had with my father, my siblings, my mother is what I try to portray in the hallways. The best relationships with people, they know what I'm thinking before I say it. And you can't have a better relationship than that.
Yep.
It's like one completes the other.
Yep.
And, you know, when I walk in the halls and we make eye contact, the kids know what I'm going to say before I say it.
Yeah.
And they may not like it,
Yeah.
but they respect the fact that it's consistent. And,
Yeah.
So the best relationships are those that you almost telepathically communicate, like the old married couple.
Yeah.
They complete each other's sentences without speaking.
There you go. There you go. And I can see, and I can make this statement and know that it's true, that you get the biggest applause out of any other school staff person up there when you're introduced, you know, frequently. Frequently. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, it's like, all right, Mr. Alves, and then everybody, even usually the people who are disengaged, who you're chasing around in the hallways all the time, they're like, oh, yeah, it's Alves, you know, giving you some respect, even though you're on them all the time.
Yeah, no, I've had to suspend them, whatever. But I think they know one of the best compliments I got was one of my former students just before he goes, you know, thanks for being real. And what I took that as is a couple things. One, I had a dialogue with them where I spoke with them and not at them.
Yeah.
You know, two, I modeled what I expected. And then three, I was at what we call here the warm demander. I kind of demand it, but I do it in a way that they know it's good for them. It may be uncomfortable, but they know it's coming from a place of support.
Yeah.
So,
the one thing before we go, okay, I want to thank you again for coming in. You know, your kid's in college, your son playing at Stonehill?
Stonehill, he's a junior, playing football, and Maddie's a freshman at Quinnipiac playing soccer.
Soccer. And the first time she scored a goal, tell me about that and what the announcer said.
Oh, yeah. No, they just said Maddie Alves, first college game, first college action, first college goal. And she scored the first 10 minutes that she played. And it was amazing because the trials and tribulations she had in the month of August. She showed up August 1st. She didn't pass her physical, you know, the EKG, echocardiogram, you know, a lot of the sudden death. They really go in deep now with the thing. So she had an abnormal heartbeat, and we had to go back and forth to Hartford, you know, to get all sorts of testing done. So she missed all of preseason. The first 5 games she didn't get in. Yeah. You know, and you know and nobody's even on campus yet. This is the first 3 or 4 weeks in August. Yeah. So the school hasn't even started. So she's there all by herself, not being able to play, and we're going out there and, you know, to have patience, as you know, you're only a freshman, whatever. And for her to go out there, honestly, brought a tear to my wife's eye and my eye, and it was just a validation that she's where she's supposed to be. And sometimes in life, character comes from overcoming adversity, and she demonstrated that very well.
That's great. That's great. And you know, as a freshman, it's not guaranteed that as a freshman, even if you're there, that you're going to see the field, or that you're going to start, or that, you know. And she's right out there.
Yeah, she played about 10 minutes each half, and both my kids are in dogfights for playing time. Yeah, doesn't matter what you did yesterday. You know, they're literally, my son, you know, he's scrapping. You know, you got 2 or 3 slot receivers, and they rotate them in, and you know, there's some injuries and stuff, so we got more time. You know, this year he was the leading receiver on the team. Yep. But, you know, the beginning of the year, the other guys didn't get hurt. You know, he was doing more blocking than catching, you know. Yeah. And, you know, you have to produce. Same with my daughter now. She's going now for spring soccer. Yeah. And they're going to move her to defense, which is where she belongs. She was just kind of, as a freshman, he likes to have him fill in for the upperclassmen on offense, because if you make a mistake, it doesn't kill you in the back end. Yeah. So now she's playing a little center back, which is her natural, spot where she's tough to get by. Use her athleticism,
Yeah.
So they train and they got to produce every day in practice. Nothing's given. This is college. It's a business.
And you had mentioned the physical problems that she'd had. She'd also come back from injury, a collarbone injury,
She
right?
had a
in
broken
high school.
collarbone.
I mean, the kid has been through a lot.
High ankle sprain. My son had both wrists operated on, both scaphoid bones. He's had a broken head of his humerus on his shoulder, a broken ankle. What I tell him, like my father used to say, you know what? It's a long way from your heart. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Just tape it up. Get out there. I don't see bad kids. I see bad decision makers. So I always try to go back over what were your choices, all right? And we talk about the process. Like I said, I enjoy seeing them work through that mindset, over the years. So, I think I do a good job of letting them know I'm passionately expressing my belief in them. You're better than this. Here's your options. If I call it wrestling with the pig. People are going to say and type bad things, like the pig in the pig pen throwing mud at you. If you dive back in and throw mud back, then you're wrestling with the pig. You're both getting muddy, but the pig loves it. You stay out of the pig pen. You say, I'm sorry you feel that way, and try to become a problem solver. So this electronic mud that people type and throw 24/7, or verbal. You got to rise above it. If not, then everybody's opinion of you is going to make you make all your decisions, and you're validating them instead of, ignoring them and having self-confidence.
You're fueling the fire.
Yeah. You're being controlled by other people's opinion of you.
Yeah.
That's why I always say, do you think I would have become dean of students if I cared what people thought about me 24/7? They'll respect me. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do for the good of the order. Okay? One of us needs to change our attitude, and I'm too old. You know what I mean? And they get it after a while. You know?
I think most do.
Yeah,
most do. So thank you, my friend. Thank you so much
absolutely.
for coming on.
This is
and
great.
I have one question.
Yes.
Riley has a question. Okay, go ahead.
With Miss Hassel moving on to a different district, have you thought about your role in what's next to come? Are you going to throw your hat into the ring?
Good question. I think, I'm going to consider all possibilities. I got a lot of moving parts in the next year. Obviously, the obvious thing is it seems like it's the natural step. Complete the wizard journey.
Yeah.
But with that comes, it's a lot of work. Miss Hassel made it look easy. She's phenomenal. She's an asset. We're going to lose a tremendously caring person. Nobody does it better than she. She's kind of that social emotional support that guys like me don't see. Sometimes I'm a little too matter of fact, and she's phenomenal. We're gonna miss her tremendously. But at the same time, she's moving to a position that's really in her wheelhouse.
Yes.
And with a young family, I understand exactly. For me, I'm going to do whatever it is, whether I'm staying as an assistant principal or if they elevate me to principal, that is going to help the kids of West Warwick and the community here at West Warwick. Honestly, everything comes with, challenges. There'll be new challenges in that job. But at the same time, excitement. Yeah. But again, if I'm not, then I'm happy where I am.
Yeah.
And, whatever the next chapter would look like is, just on the horizon also. So I think what I'm proud about is in the last 3 years, I've essentially gone back at age 55 through 58 and gotten 2 master's degrees to make this a possibility. Because if I didn't reinvest in myself and my education, this wouldn't be a possibility. And I try to use that for all the kids involved. I said, when I got laid off as dean of students, I was angry. And after my pity party for about a week, I said, I'm a hypocrite. I tell the kids, the only thing you can control in your life is your attitude and your effort. And mine stunk. So I needed to pick up the effort.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Let me reapply, finish this master's in teaching and learning and the master's in administration. All right, that I should have, but life got in the way with kids.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
I hear that.
And you know what? And that, pursuit and reinvestment gave me a key to open a door to a bigger room of opportunities, which is out in front of me. So whatever the opportunity is, whether it's assistant principal, or I move on and retire, or I'm in a college or whatever. The last 3 years, I had to get uncomfortable. All right, to open up this new room of opportunities, which frankly I'm proud of, because you know what?
Yeah.
I'm an old dog and I had to learn a lot of new tricks.
Yeah, and with the pandemic and no kids in the building, that's when the layoff happened, right?
Layoff. So, well, the layoff was that, but then what was good? It was a good kick in the butt. I was in my comfort zone, and the adversary to greatness is status quo. So I could have done that job with my eyes closed. I was on cruise control.
Yeah.
So I got out of my comfort zone. My kids are on their own kind of now, and the timing is perfect. So so we'll see. It's out of my hands. I guess
and you'll hear about it first right here on this show. Well, maybe not, but. Great question, Riley.
Yes, well,
my journalism training has paid off.
Well, we just, honestly, we have a great administrative team. Mr. Green, Mrs. Hassel, are phenomenal to work with. They great leaders. I don't think people here know how fortunate they are to have the leadership team that they have. And over the years, we've had some tremendous principals that have stayed in the district and moved to different things, but. I think we'll be in pretty good hands. There'll be some changes, but
and I think that makes everybody adjust. I talked to my classes today, and I said, it happens. The change happens. It's uncomfortable. It's not going to be anything for us this year yet.
Yeah,
but I have 10th graders that I teach, and boy, you could hear a pin drop when that video was playing.
Yeah, no,
where,
she's
and.
She'd be a tough act to follow.
Yeah. So, hey, if you do become our next principal, I just want to go on record. I always liked you best.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I'll give you 7 free periods.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Wonderful job as always.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, and special thanks to Riley Maynard for producing the show in studio. All music and sound effects for the podcast come from WeVideo, SpeechLO, and My Instance, which I use along with Audacity to produce the show. This has been a presentation of the Media Broadcasting and Journalism Pathway at West Warwick High School. If you're a student interested in learning more about radio, TV, and journalism in general, then you can get in touch with me, Mr. White, at ewhite@ww-ps.com. More information about the Pathway is also below on the YouTube version of this show. You can also listen to the Words with Wizards podcast on Spotify and Google. The Pathway and shows like this are not possible without sponsor support. Part of being a sponsor is that you and or your business can get exposure on this and other Pathway broadcasts. Funding goes toward the purchase of new equipment, student scholarships, and professional development. You can find more information on sponsorships, which are tax deductible, at the bottom of the YouTube version of this podcast. Have an idea for the show? Visit the Words with Wizards webpage at www.hstv.com. There's a form on the page that you can fill out to let me know about your ideas for the show. We'll be back soon with more Words with Wizards. Until then, stay safe and stay informed.